Okay, hi folks. I'm going to get this rolling. So my name's Dave. I'm an information specialist at McMaster Continuing Education, and you are at the student orientation webinar. So this is just to give everybody an introduction to some aspects of how being a student with us works. So we'll be going through it. Just before we get started here, I want to duly acknowledge McMaster Continuing Education is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee nations, and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. So yeah, the purpose of this webinar is to give you the chance to learn what you can expect. And so let's get rolling with this. Okay, so this is the agenda of what we're going to be covering. We're going to be talking about the benefits of continuing education, just telling you a little bit about us, giving you an overview of learning formats, talking about planning your studies, talking about registration, budgeting your studies, various platforms you can expect to use, online learning tips and myths, and talking about support services and resources. So first of all, I just want to give a little rundown of who we are. So yes, we were established in 1931 in our original form. We've gone through different sort of iterations over the years. We're located in downtown Hamilton, and we're one of Canada's largest leading providers of online certificate, diploma, and professional development programs and courses. So really what I would say the purpose of McMaster Continuing Education, largely like one of our main goals is to kind of give people an option to access, easy to enroll, easy to sort of get started programs that are really flexible for people that are working, people who have otherwise busy lives, and they're available to people all over the world. And you can, for many of our courses, you can set your own schedule and just kind of, meet deadlines for courses as, as the course moves along, but you can meet the deadlines on your own schedule. Many of our courses don't have scheduled class times. And so it's basically meant to make this level of education more accessible to more people. And that really has always been the goal, even, long before computers or anything. Just sort of providing that in different ways. So that's kind of the overview of who we are. I will just mention that some stuff I want to remember to mention here. We offer online workshops, free programs for caregivers, webinars and events for the community, like this one and others, and other quick learning opportunities in our learning continuum and 55+ courses, which cover a range of different subjects. So really, whether you want to upskill in your current field, whether you want to reskill, we offer flexible, high quality online courses that will help you reach specific goals. Okay. So here's a little overview of some of the benefits of continuing education. So, we really have the thrust of a lot of our sort of our main academic courses is that they oftentimes they are complying with the requirements for like a certain professional body for certain field. Like we have arrangements, with like in HR courses, accounting, health information, health data stuff, clinical research, lots of different relationships with related professional bodies to these fields. And so really what you're doing when you take our courses is not only are you getting a course with the prestigious name of McMaster behind it, and in many cases a course that is pretty quick and easy to enter, but you're also earning recognition that with a professional body in the associated field. Now that's not always the case, but in many cases, and you'll see this information if you're looking into a given program. But so that really is, I mean, if I was to summarize the the benefits to you off the cuff. That's how I would put it. But as I've talked about, there's a lot of flexibility, and it helps you achieve that work-life balance. So let's look at learning formats, and this is something that I really want to hammer home. Like, if you take anything from this webinar today, this is what I want everybody to understand. So we offer these 3 different learning formats. Now, the vast majority of our programs are in the online learning format. So that's the one you see in the middle. This online format is asynchronous. Okay, so that means there's no scheduled class times. There might be, the instructor might say, hey, we're going to do like a meet and greet at this time or something. And you can make it if you can make it, but it wouldn't be like a mandatory thing. You wouldn't like lose marks for missing it or something like that. But for the most part, it's going to be, you log in to our learning platform, the course content is going to be posted, and you're going to follow the directions, the guidance for that course, doing the content as it comes up. So you're probably doing readings, you might be looking at videos, you're probably taking part in class discussions, and you are submitting assignments or doing quizzes and stuff by the posted due dates. Whether you want to work on that at night, early in the morning, like whenever you have time, it's up to you, right? So that's what makes it a pretty flexible option. Now, that's kind of the happy medium between the other 2, right? So the virtual classroom is the most structured format. So that one has live lectures that you're expected to attend. Now, all the lectures are recorded if you have an emergency and you do miss them. But many courses have like participation marks and stuff for when you're actually there live. So if you're taking a virtual classroom course, just assume that the expectation is that it is mandatory to attend classes. Like, don't sign up for virtual classroom and think, oh, I'll just watch all the lectures after the fact, because that's not how they're designed to be. But yeah, so these will be, typically it's once per week, and typically they're held in like evening hours or on the weekends to try to accommodate common work schedules, right? So and I will say that only certain, like when you are looking at courses, which courses you want to take, you'll see that every course section that's available is labeled with one of these names. So it'll say online. It says, if it says online, that means it's the middle one. If it says virtual classroom, that means it's virtual classroom. Okay. And if it says online self-study, which I'll talk about in a sec, that means it's that. So and then when you click on the section for more information, it's going to come up and it's going to show you, like, if it's virtual classroom, it's going to say, okay, it goes from this date to this date, and it's on, Wednesdays at, 6 o'clock or whatever, 6 to 9. Okay. And then, so for online self-study, this is the other end of the spectrum. So this is the most independent. Okay. You can, you get, there in some online self-study courses, there definitely are some deadlines as you go along. But you can, they definitely have the most flexibility in terms of, like, you really get to set your own pace. Most of them last for a maximum of like 6 months. So you have that full time to complete them, or you can do them a lot quicker. And I think the fastest you can complete most online self-study courses, all the ones that I know of off the top of my head, at least, is 2 months. So basically you have that, that pretty wide range of flexibility between 2 and 6 months to complete the content that is within. So yeah, just anytime you're looking at a course, like I said, most of our options are they're going to be in the online format. Some courses are offered in more than one, and some courses are only offered in like a certain type of format. So just pay attention to those labels, and then you'll know exactly what you're getting into. And there's a page on our website that has this exact same definition with some more information, some more details about each of these as well. And that's available on like every page. You'll see it's learning formats. That's the link. So you see that term, just click that, you'll find it. Okay. So yeah, this stuff I think is pretty self-explanatory, but depending on what your availability is, basically what you need to know is that most courses, well, I will say, I'm going to say this, all of our courses are anywhere between around 6 hours, and the harder courses are maybe up to like 10 hours a week. That's, really an average, right? Everybody's different, everybody works at a different pace, so on and so forth, right? So most courses, if it's one of our sort of more intensive courses, maybe, especially for the programs that require an application and whatnot, and they're a little bit more intensive to get into, or ones that just sort of list requirements, then I would say maybe expect 8 to 10 hours a week for those courses. And if it's an open enrollment program where we're saying, where we're indicating this is for beginners and whatnot, you can probably anticipate it's closer to like 6 to 8 hours a week. And then just decide your course load accordingly, right? If you're working full time, if you have family commitments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, just decide what you should do based on, how many courses you should take at a time, based on how busy you are. And you can see we have some, some recommendations laid out here on this slide. Okay. All right. So how to register. So as I was mentioning earlier, registration is really straightforward, and it's a basically low barrier to entry in most cases, and that's on purpose. Like I said, we want to make this high quality of education accessible to as many people as possible, and not make you go through jump through a lot of hoops and stuff, and send us documents and yada yada. So this is what you see here where it says registration criteria. This is like the baseline for all of our programs require basically at least this. So this is, it's an Ontario secondary school diploma or equivalent. So basically, if you've gone to high school in Ontario or anywhere else, really, then that's fine. And if you haven't graduated high school, then you can also just be a mature student, which means that you've been out of school for 2 or more years. So that right there covers just about everybody, right? And if you somehow don't fit in those categories, like basically, if you're like very young and just left high school and haven't finished, then reach out to us and we can possibly make exceptions to that too. And then this one is important, English language proficiency. So just make sure, be aware that our courses are taught at they're all in English, right? For better, for worse. And that is, you're going to need to have a certain level of English proficiency in order to succeed in our courses. You are not required to submit anything. What we do have is if you Google English proficiency McMaster, you're going to find a web page from the main site that has some test scores. So if you're not really sure if your English level is good enough, you can refer to that page and see what the test scores are. And on that page, it's going to say you need to send it to this or that, whatever. You don't need to send us your tests. Definitely not for open enrollment programs. There might be some applications that ask for like a test score. But for open enrollment programs, which most of our courses are, you do not have to submit anything. But we do often link to these English proficiency requirements just so that people can see for themselves, like, okay, like that's the level that I need to be at, and I know I'm at that level. Okay, good to go, right? That is how that works. In terms of registering, I believe, are we going to go over that on the next page? No, it doesn't look like it. So I'm just going to say that all you have to do to register is you're looking at our website. You can find, there's a drop-down menu on sort of the left side near the top, and you'll find, programs listed out by category. You can go browse by programs, then click on a program to find the individual courses. Click on the courses to find the individual offerings of those courses, and then click on the offering and you'll get an add to cart button. And then you add the courses you want to your cart. And when you're happy with your selection, you check out. And if you're a new student with us, it's going to take you through an account creation process. Okay. That's how it works. We might actually go over these details in later slides, but I just wanted to mention that, go over that briefly in case we don't. So this slide is just about budgeting your studies. So I think this stuff is probably pretty self-explanatory to most of you, right? Review your course fees and keep your budget in mind. Be aware that you just pay on a course-by-course basis. So like I said, you're not at any point making a commitment to a program, really. Again, like I said, with application programs, you're paying an additional fee to submit your application. So, based on that investment, you probably, would want to commit to the program in that case. But if you're just taking like human resources management or business administration or any number of our many open enrollment programs, you can just consider it that like, I'm just paying for one course at a time or two courses at a time, however many you're taking. And then you are, and you're just paying for each of those piecemeal as you go along. And, with there's in some cases, there's maybe extra costs like textbooks. But for the most part, the whole cost of your program, if you're trying to budget that out, is going to be the cost of your just the sum of your program or your courses that you're taking. Okay. And we do have financial assistance options as well. And those are listed on the right here. And I will make sure I mention that we are not eligible for OSAP, which is a question I'm sure you can imagine we get about 100 times a day. No, we are not eligible for OSAP, but we do have this whole list of other financial assistance options. The closest one to OSAP would be the bursary / award for part-time students offered through McMaster. You don't have to be part-time though, by the way. It's just a category that we're under without getting into the weeds on it too much. If you're taking a full-time schedule with continuing education, that is okay. You can still apply for the bursary for part-time students. I know it's not especially intuitive, but it's the way it is. Okay, so and then there's these other options as well. Okay, so and we have more information about these on our website, and you're welcome to go take a look at them and reach out to us if you have further questions about these. I just want to do a quick shout out to Better Jobs Ontario. I used to work in employment services before I came to McMaster, so I'm a big believer in the Better Jobs Ontario program. It's recently been redeveloped from Second Career, and basically based on your recent employment history, and you do have to meet certain eligibility requirements and whatnot, but depending on what your recent employment history is, you may be eligible to get your entire program paid for and not have to pay anything back with this. So it's if it's something that you are eligible for, really great. So if you are, if that could apply to you, or if you know anybody could apply to, let them know. And we are working hard to make as many of our programs as we can eligible for this so that people can take advantage of this funding option. All right, we're going to talk about Mosaic. So this is just where we're going to talk a little bit about different systems that you'll use as a student with us. Mosaic is our student records and administration system. So you use your Mac ID to log into this, and your Mac ID is basically your student email, but without the @mcmaster.ca at the end. So if you know what your McMaster, if you've already registered and stuff, and you know what your McMaster email is, just cut off @mcmaster.ca, and that's your Mac ID. And that's what you use as your username to log into Mosaic. And then it's the same password that you use everywhere else that you created for your account. And when you log into this, you can order certain documents like you need a letter that says, hey, I completed my course, or I got this many courses done, that sort of thing. You can order transcripts, an official transcript through Mosaic as well. Although there's a few different ways to do that, including a service that allows you to go around Mosaic and may even be better in some cases. But yeah, you can also just, you can check your grades here. You can check and make sure that you're enrolled in courses, because one thing to note, and something we get asked a lot, is that when you first register for a course, it's not going to show up in Avenue to Learn Avenue to Learn, we're going to talk about in another slide, I think, but that's where you actually do all the work for your course. That's where you log in and like do all your student stuff. But the courses don't show up in Avenue until the course is actually started, or it's like just about to start. So sometimes people will register and then they'll go log into Avenue and they'll panic and they'll say, oh my gosh, my course isn't there, I don't see it. And so you can always log into Mosaic and actually see like, okay, there's a course that I've signed up for. I can see I've registered for something all the way ahead to January, and I can see, yep, that's locked in. I am signed up for that course. Okay. And yeah, there's just a lot of different things you can do in Mosaic. You can change your, your address, your email, basically any kind of administrative stuff like that. And if you want some more help figuring out how to use this system, you can check out our YouTube channel. We do have some tutorials there on how to use it. Although it's pretty self-explanatory, but you'll probably figure it out if you click around. But tutorials can't hurt for sure. So you can always check that out. All right, let's move on. So Avenue to Learn, as I was mentioning, this is where you log in, you get all your student stuff. Okay. Like I said, courses are added 1 to 3 days before your course begins, usually 1 day, I think, my experience, before your course begins. And do be aware, oh yeah, so I want to mention this. When you first register for a course with us, you should receive 3 different emails, 3 separate emails. One of them is like a welcome confirmation letter signed by the president of McMaster Continuing, or sorry, director, saying, hey, thanks for joining. The second one is a receipt from Moneris. And then the third one is an email that has important credential information in it. It has your student number in it and your student barcode, and you're going to need those credentials. And then it also gives you a link to a website you have to go to in order to activate your Mac ID. Activating your Mac ID is really important because that's what allows you to actually be able to use Avenue to Learn. So if you try to log into Avenue to Learn without activating your Mac ID, it's not going to work. Okay. And in this case, when we're talking about using your Mac ID, you actually have to use your full email address. So it's your Mac ID at mcmaster.ca at the end, and then the same password. Okay. And I will also mention those 3 emails that I just mentioned. Sometimes for some people's emails, they have, strong filtering on them or whatever, and one of them may go to the junk mail or the spam folder. So if you're thinking, hey, I didn't receive any or one of those emails, go check your spam folder. It's probably there. And if you still can't find it, then please reach out and let us know, because this is important information. And you need to make sure that you follow the directions in that 3rd email and get your Mac ID activated. Oh, by the way, that 3rd email can also take like 12 to 24 hours to actually get sent. So if you just registered, you might not have received it yet. But if you haven't received it by 24 hours later, then definitely reach out to us, or if you can't find it or whatever. Because you do need to activate your Mac ID in order to be able to access Avenue to Learn. But once you do access Avenue to Learn, everything that you need for your courses is going to be there. You're gonna find out stuff like your instructors, contact information, how to get in touch with them, their email or whatever. You're gonna get, obviously all the course information, and all your assignments are going to be posted there. They're going to be submitted in there. That's where you do all that stuff for your courses. Okay. For activating your Mac ID, there is and getting sort of set up for Avenue to Learn, there is a portion of that also involves doing your submitting an email that's going to be like your Microsoft account, and you need to make sure that that you are giving it an email as like a backup email where it can send like verification numbers to. Make sure that you give it an email that you are always going to have access to. So, I basically would say stay away from like work emails or school emails, or give it like your central, when it's talking about security stuff, give it and asking for like a Microsoft account, give it an email that you're going to have access to like forever and ever. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about online learning tips and do some myth busting as well. So we'll go through the tips first. So it's a good idea to explore Avenue to Learn, just to sort of, even if you don't have any course content in there yet, just look around and kind of get a feel for what's there and what the layout is, that you're ready to go once your course starts. Review your course outlines and any schedules that get posted. So, just typical study tips there, right? Plan your time management. It's a good idea to, when you do have flexibility, this is definitely the case for me, and I'm sure I'm not alone on this, is that, sometimes, we want flexibility, but sometimes structure is good too, right? So when you have all that freedom to kind of say, oh, I got this whole week to do this thing, how often are you going to end up doing it at like the last minute, and being stressed, right? It's a good idea, I think, for a lot of people to, sort of block out some time and say, look, I'm going to have some time on Wednesday night. Assignment's not due until Sunday or whatever, but let's try to get out of the way. And, and then, it gives you that leeway to contact your instructors if you're, you run into a problem unexpectedly or something, right? And yeah, along the same line, set up your dedicated study space. It's a lot easier to do this kind of, these courses, folks, I'm going to say, like, most of our courses that we offer, they are considered by the university to be, first of all, worth the same academic credit as an undergraduate degree course. So, and they are considered to be at a second or third year level. So these are not like, these are serious courses, right? They're no joke. And they do expect you to, work hard and really show your stuff. So, take them seriously and prepare, to, need to be able to concentrate and, need like a quiet, appropriate space to get your work done. And yeah, there's going to be some, you can review online etiquette and best practices, which, you can find guidelines for, I think, they're probably included in the documentation for each course. Now let's do some myth busting. So a lot of people are concerned that, oh, I'm not going to have any support online if it's, asynchronous. What is the instructor doing really? Just posting stuff on a forum and saying, good luck, bye. Well, no, that's not the case. A lot of times these courses are very interactive, right? They are, there's discussions with, regular discussions with involving your instructor, involving your peers. And the instructors, it's a big part of the instructor's job for these courses to be readily available to help you with stuff. So there's always going to be instructor contact in the contact section inside Avenue, which is one of the reasons why you want to explore it ahead of time, so you figure that out, so you know exactly where to go and how to contact the instructor if you end up needing that assistance. So yeah, just don't be under the impression that you're not going to have any support. Like, no one's going to deny that it's a different experience to go sit somewhere in person and, have that in-person experience. Of course, it's not going to be exactly the same, but it's definitely not the case that you're going to be like left out in the cold either. Okay. So now another assumption that some people have is, oh, the quality of it's an online course, really, is that really the same quality as going and, sitting in like a fancy classroom and feeling like a big serious student? Well, I'm going to say that we have been working on, so we've gone more online than we were before since COVID, but we have been doing online courses in some degree for a very long time. We've been kind of in this online space for a long time now. So we really know what we're doing with this stuff. When you take an online course with us, you're not taking something that's just been clumsily transferred from an in-person to online, and that you're going through it and going, oh man, you can really see the seams here. No, that's not the case. Like, we've been doing this for a long time. We know what we're doing with online courses. And all of our courses go through rigorous, like, I mean, anybody who has ever been waiting for a course that's in development to sort of get finalized and be able to take it for the first time will tell you that it takes a while for courses to get approved and stuff, because they go through so much approval process and testing and multiple different levels. It's McMaster. There's bureaucracy, right? As I'm sure you can imagine. And so these courses, they're seriously looked at. Now, and another thing that people think is that, oh, I'm not going to have a chance to network with my peers. Well, as I've been explaining, you do get that chance. I'm not going to say every single course we offer is exactly the same in this respect, but it's definitely the norm that courses are going to involve like at least some online discussions and that sort of thing. And this is one of those things too that you kind of will get what you put into it, right? So you can make a post in your course forum and say, hey, I really like to start a discussion group outside of class with some of you folks about this subject that I'm really interested in, and let's or if you're working in this field, like, message me, let's get a group together, let's chat. Like, there's nothing stopping you from doing that kind of stuff, right? So but if you just kind of sit back passively and wait for everything to come to you, then yeah, you might not get as much out of it. But if you're proactive, you can definitely benefit lots from having this access to these different relevant people, instructors and peers. Okay, so let's take a little break from me talking for like 2 seconds and run poll number 5. What are your study plans? So I'll launch this for you. Oh, you know what? I already launched this because yeah, the polls are out of order in my list. So let's just skip that then. Sorry about that. Okay. So newcomer information, right? Yeah. So what we want to talk about here is just a quick note on career development resources. So if you are if you're new in, well, actually, whether you're new or not, because and some of these basically what I'll say, local to Hamilton, we have the Immigrants Working Center. So if you don't have permanent residence yet or citizenship, and you're looking for a job, you should look into the Immigrants Working Center. That's local to Hamilton. I think there's maybe some other ones in other cities as well. And if not that exact organization, there's different similar ones that cater to the same demographic. And if you do have permanent residence and you're looking or you're a citizen and you're looking for employment assistance, there's a whole network of Employment Ontario service centers that can help you as well. So that's something to know about. And the reason we're mentioning this is because a lot of people will sort of ask us, like, hey, can we do you guys offer assistance with employment? And we don't have a formal setup for that right now. So that's why we refer people to like local services or services that are local to them. But what we do have, of course, is, like, as I was just saying, if you are proactive and talk to your instructors and your peers and stuff like that, you can get some good, career networking and whatnot out of it. Your instructors, in particular, are going to be excellent resources for this kind of stuff, because these are all the people that we hire for this are all people who are, at the top of this, the field that they're teaching in anyway. So, there's going to be no better contact for you to make than them. So, but as far as like a formal sort of like transition into career program, that's not something that we have going on at this time. And when people are looking for something more than networking with instructors and peers, etc., we refer people out to such resources. Okay. So yeah, we also have there's also the biotalent skilled newcomer wage subsidy, and this is for any jobs in the bioeconomy sector. So this is sort of a part, well, I don't know if it's correct to call it a partnership, but it's like a relationship that we have. And I don't have all the details on it off the top of my head, but I recommend looking into this on our website and reaching out to us if you have questions. And we can send you like all the details about it. And then you have networking and job opportunities. They're sort of within McMaster, and these are listed out here. And yeah, I don't want to get bogged down in the details of these, and we are kind of running up against time as well, because I talk a lot. But if you are interested in learning more about this, you can find information about it on our website, and you can reach out to us as well and say, hey, I want to know more about this. And we will send you all the detailed info. Okay. A quick overview of mental health resources. So we have the McMaster mental health resources, BIPOC mental health resources. We have now most of these resources can be accessed Canada-wide. I'll let you guys read through the list here. I'm just going to read from my notes here. Most of these resources can be accessed Canada-wide. They include toll-free support numbers and emails to connect with a service or support. Please note that a few are also specific to the Hamilton region, and some are available only to full-time students. As you can see, the resources also include services and support for McMaster employees, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, LGBTQ+ individuals, women, and other community and online mental health resources. On the webpage, we have listed a variety of apps and exercises that are meant to improve your well-being. This is ranging from meditation and safety apps to breathing techniques and anxiety management. So for more information and access to links to the services resources, you can just find that section on our website. It's under support services. Please, and of course, reach out to us if you are having trouble locating any of those resources as well. Okay. We also want to give a shout out to writing services. So this is actually pretty cool. There's writing services that you can take advantage of that are delivered through main campus, but continuing education students are able to get access to them. And when we say delivered through main campus, though, it's actually a little misleading, because you probably think, oh, well, I have to go to main campus and I don't live in Canada, so that it doesn't help me. But it does help you, because these are actually fully remote. So you can sign up for an appointment and get fully virtual help. This is to help you with, of course, academic writing specifically, but it doesn't have to be limited to just assignments. They can help you with stuff that's kind of tangential to your student journey as well. Maybe you're trying to pitch what you've just learned in a program to a professional colleague or your boss or something like that. Really, I mean, I don't want to give a definitive list of what they will help with, because I don't really know all the details of what they would and wouldn't do. But what I would say is that it can't hurt to ask. If you have something writing oriented that you have in mind and you're a student, ask them, see if they'll help, because they very possibly might, and would be happy to. So yeah, I'll let you guys read what's on the right there, just the different ways that writing services can help you, which I'm sure you guys can sort of infer. Okay. So here's resources on where to get help and support. So we have our general help center, which contains a lot of different things. We have our FAQ section. This has a lot of common questions, as well as like step-by-step instructions for how to do different things, like how to apply to graduate at the end of your program. By the way, you do have to apply to graduate. That's something that people miss sometimes. They just think that they're going to get their credential at the end when they have completed all the requirements. And then they, like months later, they'll email us and they'll say, hey, I've never got that. Well, you have to apply to graduate first. And goes through a little approval process, and then you can get your credential. And so if you're wondering, well, how do I do that? I don't know where to go in Mosaic. Well, that's one of the things that's covered on our FAQ page, as well as a ton of other really common questions like, hey, I need to get proof that I finished my course, or I need some financial statements. Oh, my cat is joining us for the end of the presentation here. Working from home, right? Good times. So yeah. So yeah, check out the FAQ page for a lot of common questions like that. And there's a lot. And also, if you have any questions about, hey, I'm not sure about this assignment, or I'm going to be late on my assignment, or anything that's really like directly related to a specific course you're taking, your instructor should be your first point of contact. And then the next point of contact, let's say for some reason, maybe the instructor got sick or something like that, and they're not answering their emails or something. In a case like that, you would reach out to the program staff. And if you don't know the email contact for the program staff, reach out to me, reach out to us, the information specialists, via live chat, via our contact form on the website. Just find the word contact on our website, click it, fill out the form. We'll get back to you. We'll put you in touch with the program staff if that's the appropriate for the situation. Yeah, you can see there's the URL right there on the screen, continuing.mcmaster.ca/contact. Oh yeah, and that sorry I'm kind of bouncing around here a little bit, but over on the right side, your student journey is another useful link that kind of lays out like, here's all the steps involved in the student journey. Thanks everybody for coming along, and we'll see you out there in the in an email maybe one day if you have questions. Okay, take care everybody, have a good rest of your day, and yeah, see ya.